Hi, my name's Nathan. I go by Peteparker, and every week I do comic book reviews because that's the rule around my house. If I want to keep buying them, I gotta review them. So this review is for X-Force number 11, Uncanny X-Force number 11, pardon me. This is written by Rick Remender, and the penciler is Mark Brooks in this one. This is the beginning of the Dark Angel saga, I guess. I guess the last one was the prelude. This is Chapter 1, Journey to the Age of Apocalypse. So basically, the things that Apocalypse implanted into Archangel, Warren Worthington Angel, are now trying to take him over and convert him into a new Apocalypse because Apocalypse, the regular Apocalypse, has supposedly been killed. So his friends, including Wolverine and everybody on Uncanny X-Force, sprung Dark Beast, who is from the Age of Apocalypse universe, to get him to help them fix their friend, right? And Dark Beast told him that the only place that they could go to get what he needs to fix him is back in his home reality, in the Age of Apocalypse reality. And when I first heard this concept, I was thinking, so here's a guy that's from another reality altogether. He was about to go to jail, and what would be a better escape from going to jail than going back home where you are, needed or loved or whatever, right? So I thought for sure he was going to ditch him in the Age of Apocalypse reality and just hang out there, but that's not the case. So in this one, they make their way to the Age of Apocalypse reality. They find Dark Beast's old lab. They get this celestial seed that is going to help Warren not become the new Apocalypse. And just as they have their hands on it, the X-Men, or whatever they call themselves in the Age of Apocalypse universe, intercede, seeing them as bad guys and friends of the Dark Beast, who was a really bad guy in the Age of Apocalypse universe. And so they attack and then end up destroying the seed in the process. And then, right then, he ditches them and goes to some other reality, presumably back to the regular reality. And they're stuck there. So they make acquaintances with the X-Men of this world, and they get taken to the base of the X-Men, which is in Atlantis, and this whole story is really good, as usual. I mean, it's Uncanny X-Force. I've been raving about this series for a while now. It's written really well. The team is really well constructed. If you like the X-Men, then you probably will like this entire series. The art is a little bit different from one to the next. I believe Billy Tan was the last one, and this one is Mark Brooks, so that took a little bit of getting used to, but the more consistent change-ups in the book is kind of helping me acclimate more quickly to different people drawing the same thing, or the same team, more or less. But you did get some awesome splash pages. There's the Age of Apocalypse reality. They're standing on a roof looking for Beast's lab, which is pretty cool. You've got an attack scene with the Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth and Wolverine, and the regular Wolverine right here. That's great. There's a lot of other really great stuff in here. So the art's pretty good. And then the story is really great. You get a lot of really introspective thoughts from Wolverine. So, as you may or may not know, Nightcrawler is dead in the real reality, and then in the Age of Apocalypse reality, Wolverine is dead, and there's different kind of deaths between the two realities that really make for some emotional contact. So when Wolverine kind of sees Nightcrawler in this Age of Apocalypse reality, it's brand new, like bringing up the death all over again. And you can really feel how much that would hurt. Like your best friend who had died, and then you see another version of them, but it's not them. How hard that would be to be around them. And it's really well described and really well written. And then in the very end, he's talking about how there's only one other person that makes him hurt this bad even worse, and that turns out to be Jean Grey, who's alive in the Age of Apocalypse reality too, and presumably that's Magneto in a wheelchair. But you would think, with powers and all, he could have a floating wheelchair at least. I mean, Professor X had one, right? And then there's another neat little connection here between Betsy Braddock, Psylocke, and the Sabretooth of the Age of Apocalypse reality. So not everybody read this, but in the Exiles series, they actually ended up being on the same team together while Chris Claremont was writing the end of the series. He put them both on the same Exiles team, and they were on it together, and they were kind of an item. So that helped in this situation. I was really glad to see a little bit of that connection in here, but I got really scared really quickly that they were going to play up that whole, we were on this team together and we did all this stuff, and talking about the Exile stuff, which really isn't where this belongs. But it totally caught me by surprise, which is interesting, right? Because I got to know a lot of the Age of Apocalypse characters through the Exiles series, because there were so many of them on the Exiles team. It was surprising to see the Sabretooth from that team in here, and I didn't make that connection immediately. I recognize that it's the same person, but I didn't make the connection that he has all this rich history and he's actually a hero and all these other things until Betsy stepped in and stopped Wolverine and Sabretooth from fighting anymore by vouching for both of them. And even then, Wolverine's saying that, it's hard not to just take a run at Sabretooth the whole time because they hate each other so much that it just doesn't go away when somebody says, no, this guy's cool. So it's very cool. There's a lot of dynamics in here that you don't have to know about to enjoy the book, but when you do know about them and you go through the book, it makes it that much more enriching, like those two dynamics. And they've played on that in the past with Wolverine and Deadpool and Phantom X all being from the Weapon Plus program, more or less. So again, it's great. I think this is more along the lines of what people are looking for when they look for a good X-Men book. And then on top of that, you have a lot of heavy Age of Apocalypse stuff, which is also very popular. So I have a feeling that this story arc is going to be extremely popular, especially while they're still in the Age of Apocalypse. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There's a few characters from the Age of Apocalypse reality that we didn't see in this series that I would like to see, most notably like Blink and Morph, the other guys from the Exiles. I think they returned back here after a while. The very end of the Exiles series was really very confusing, so you didn't really know where anything necessarily went. But it would be nice to see them at least alive and interact with other real heroes. So much of what they did was inconsequential or in alternate realities and really confusing. So it'd be nice to see them interact in a way that these characters are interacting with each other, kind of like adults. So this book was very good. Very good. I would say a definite 4 out of 5, almost a 5 out of 5. It didn't blow me away, but I did really, really like it. Almost love it. So there you go, 4 out of 5. I can't wait for the next book. I hope I don't have to wait another month, but if you've been following this series, it's coming out almost every other week, if not every week sometimes. So you don't have long to wait in between them, and it's going to make for a really awesome series all in one. I might even buy that to read them all one after the other. So there you go. Check out my other reviews as Spidey207 on YouTube and Peteparker everywhere else. And until then, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.